Hi guys, so I just celebrated Dominican Republic Independence Day, and it was a fun celebration. I went to a special event organized by Dominicans. It was organized by the Dominican Professional Association in the Washington DC area in the USA. It was a great event and I really had a blast. However, I still keep hearing people asking why Dominicans celebrate their independence from Haiti and not from Spain, and also why Dominicans seem more angry with Haitians for the atrocities they committed when they colonized or occupied the Dominican Republic. But you don't really hear that same anger and negative energy towards the Spaniards. So I reached out to one of my Dominican friends who goes by the name of Fighter Complex 7 on social media and YouTube to break it down for us once and for all, hopefully. Before we bring in Fighter Complex 7, and to just put everything in context, I just want to mention that for those of you who may not know, in 1492, Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer and navigator whose voyages across the Atlantic Ocean were sponsored by the Spanish Catholic monarchs. So the Spanish sponsored Christopher Columbus trips to the island of Dominican Republic, or Hispaniola, so to speak. He named that island Hispaniola to mean Little Spain, which is present-day Dominican Republic and Haiti. When Christopher Columbus came to the island, he found it already occupied by high cheekboned, dark-skinned indigenous people called the Tainos. Tainos means good and noble, and this is a reflection of the good lifestyle and the good daily life that the Tainos live. That's what their name means. So according to my research, Tainos lived on the whole island, including the Haitian part of the island. But within 25 years of Columbus' arrival, most of the Tainos on the island died from his enslavement, his massacre of the people, and the diseases that they brought from Europe and everywhere else. So both Dominican Republic and Haiti have Taino ancestry as well, although I've come across Dominicans who argue that Haitians don't have Taino blood. But I don't understand why it could not be true when the Tainos occupied the whole island, including the Haitian side of the island. So, but I did hear that some Haitians do have Taino blood. And also a lot of Dominicans don't have that high percentage of Taino blood either. I think most of them have between 1 and 5% of Taino blood. But anyway, that's beside the point. The point here is that although Christopher Columbus committed a lot of harm on the island, including the depopulation of the indigenous Taino people due to his mistreatment, diseases, and enslavement, like I mentioned before, he is still admired in the Dominican Republic. So if you go to Santo Domingo, the capital city of Dominican Republic, you see a huge statue of Christopher Columbus. So clearly, he's very admired in Dominican Republic, despite the fact that he mistreated the original people of the island. He killed them, enslaved them, massacred them, and wiped them out. So there's hardly any Tainos on the island at all. But nobody seems to hate Christopher Columbus for that. And the Dominicans don't go on about what he did to the people of the island. But clearly a lot of Dominicans are still upset about what the Haitians did when they occupied the country. And don't get me wrong, because I believe that what the Haitians did to Dominicans when they massacred the people, that was brutal, that was wrong, and it should not be excused at all. And also the Dominicans did retaliate and also massacre some Haitians. And two wrongs don't make a right, obviously. There's a lot of evil that was done during the Spain colonizing of Dominican Republic, and also when the Haitians took over. And of course the Dominicans did retaliate as well. So before I bring in what Father Complex had to say about this, let me read a message that Father Complex put on his social media on the day of Dominican Republic's Independence Day. This is what Fighter Complex 7 wrote on his social media. You can see it on the screen right now, and you can also read along. Today, Dominicans celebrate their independence from Haitian rule back in 1844. That's when the Republic got independent from Haiti. To many, the conflict seems like superficial, one-sided racial hate. But in reality, the real tension began in 1805 when Dessalines led his troops to the eastern part of the island and caused genocide of white, black, and mulatto Dominicans, notoriously named Beheading of Mocha. 40 children were beheaded at a church, and thousands of women and men were dragged to Haiti and enslaved, along the thousands martyred. It's apparent that the status quo is to deem the more homogeneous darker nation benevolent and incapable of the atrocities. Many times it's hard to discuss this profound topic with individuals who haven't applied strenuous research, delving into unbiased information. There were many invasions and battles fought. Believe it or not, a black nation colonized for 22 years and mixed one. So he's saying that a black nation, Haiti, colonized a mixed one, Dominican Republic, for 22 years. Below, I'll post a photo that shows the dwindling population of the eastern side of the island during that period of time. With all that being said, today us Dominicans celebrate our mixed heritage, history, and beautiful people, as well as our victory in war. Que viva Quisqueya. So with all that said, how come Dominicans don't celebrate their independence from Spain? They only celebrate their independence from Haiti. Father Complex, a Dominican, will help to explain that to us.
Now, that's a great question, right? Because it would seem that I'm being hypocritical, right? It would seem like, oh, why are you only calling out the Haitian people? Why are you not calling out the Spaniards? And when I was younger, I had this conversation with my stepmother. Why is it that we have conflict with Haiti, while Dominicans, we have still this sort of tension, right? And not the Spaniards. And, and I'll explain why. You have to remember that when Spain went to DR, yes, they wiped out the indigenous population. But you have to remember, when Spain went there at first, they became mestizo. So I wiped a lot of them out, and they mixed with them for a very short period of time. Maybe 12 years, I think. It was under 20 years. Then they immediately brought the slaves. So they actually wanted to stay there. The Spaniards that went there, they wanted to make that a place to live, to build a new nation, a new headquarters, a staple. They wanted to. That's why they built the first university, hospitals, you name it. So when Spain went there, they wanted to establish something there. They wanted to stay there. Eventually, they brought the slaves. They had all these institution built, university, colleges, hospitals, everything, right? Of the Americas. So when you think of Dominican Republic, think of the United States, how the whites ended up kind of integrating with the blacks, but there was no segregation, you could say. Yes, there was slavery, but it was more like caste slavery. It wasn't as brutal. I know that sounds funny. Oh, slavery, like, oh, soft slavery. Yeah, all slavery is harsh. Yeah, we understand that. But I guess there is levels to it, because in the Caribbean, we know that the Haitian experience with slavery was maybe the worst in the Caribbean, and the slavery in the Dominican Republic was maybe less brutal than it was in the United States. In the United States, eventually they came together and integrated, right? But DR never had segregation. It was more inclusive. So by the time people were mixing, that's why there was a heavy mulatto and blacker race, and you had the Spaniards there too. So you had people that were white, you had people that were black, and you had people in the middle, right? So by that time, everyone felt like they were one within that culture. They felt as one. And I guess DR was under Spanish rule by proxy. Spain basically abandoned DR. It was called Spain Boba, España Boba. You have to remember, around that time period, Spain had bigger affairs, bigger issues to handle over there in Europe. On that time, Haiti said, "Hey, listen, now we're free from the French, but we still are facing threats for them. So we're gonna step in and take over these Dominicans because they want to put an embargo on us, and they have money that we can use. They have resources that we can use to pay back the debt, and we can take over this whole land." And the Dominicans were split about this. They were all not in accord with unifying with Haiti, but it's not really like they had a choice. So once they unified, Dominican Republic at that time, they were Dominican. Like they had the people there felt like they had an identity. Pro Colombia, you had Dominicans that were for pro Haiti. You had Dominicans that were more pro for Spain. So it came a time in where they decided to unite to dismantle the Haitians, because the Haitians went in there and they eradicated the Spanish language, the religion, everything. By the time 1844 came about, when they were defeated, there were like 22 battles. Like, it was an ongoing war with them. It didn't just stop. Like, they made many attempts to reconquer Dominican Republic. Years later, I said, like 20 years later, Spain tried to come and take over DR, but we wasn't having it, and we kicked their ass. But by the time Spain tried to go over there, we already had our independence. When Spain got there, we already had our independence. So that's the intricate history of DR. It's not just cut and dry, you know? So they were in 1865, when Spain went to try to reconquer or whatever, there were white Dominicans fighting those Spaniards. You know, there were white Dominicans that wanted Spain to come over and take it over again, but there were white Dominicans that were maybe of heavier Spanish descent, Spanish lineage, fighting off Spain. So I know people try to paint this as a simple situation. Circumstance is not. It's very intricate. It has a lot of details that have to be tackled. But
all right, good people, this is the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. Please feel free to leave your comment below with any thoughts that you may have, and like and share this video. People of African heritage, please, let's embrace our Africanness. Africa is beautiful, you are beautiful, and of course, let's just embrace each other as humans. Despite the color of your skin, we are really one. We bleed the same. Thank you. Have a good one. God bless.